Hello and welcome to Randomly Accessed Memory Devices, or RAMD for short. A new series I've created that will examine an entire game series, game by game, and discuss its story, innovation, and basic gameplay elements. The first game on the list, Ape Escape, or as it's known in Japan, Saru no Getchu. Our story begins as Spectre, a cute white circus monkey, puts a pinpoint helmet on his head. Now, the pinpoint helmet was created by a character simply known as the Professor. The pinpoint helmet drastically increases the intellect of anyone who wears it, giving Spectre not only extreme levels of intelligence, but also psychic abilities as well. Spectre uses his newfound intelligence to escape from the zoo and free his fellow monkeys. He also gives them their own pinpoint helmets, though they don't seem to have the same effect, as the monkeys only seem to be slightly smarter. However, the story really gets started as two of the main characters, Spike and Jake, make their way to the Professor's house. They believe they're finally going to try out the new time machine that the Professor created. However, upon arrival, they find out that the Professor and his granddaughter Natalie have been captured by the apes. Before they know what's going on, Spectre, the apes, Jake, and Spike are levitated upward and sent through time. Spike is contacted by the Professor and informed that Spectre's plan is to alter the past to make it so that apes rule the future. To prevent this, Spike must journey to several different time periods and capture the apes. Things take a turn for the worse when Spectre contacts the Professor.
New age. That's right. Apes will soon rule the world, just as it should have been from the beginning.
He reveals that he's taken Jake captive and used his psychic powers to brainwash Jake into becoming a servant. Jake obtains a very sinister rival attitude, in only wanting to prove that he's better than Spike in everything. At this point in the game, Spectre treats Spike as a weakling who can't do anything.
Spike'll find you. Just wait, you'll see. We're not gonna stand around and let you take over.
Spike? That little runt? He doesn't scare me.
However, Spike uses several of the gadgets that the Professor gives him to capture the monkeys. He uses a gotcha net to teleport them back to a holding facility. After passing through several time periods, Spike eventually locates Spectre in a crumbling castle in the dawn of civilization. After infiltrating the castle and capturing several apes, he finally meets Spectre and the brainwashed Jake at the top. However, instead of capturing Spectre, he can do nothing but watch as Spectre and his friends get into a ship and fly away, leaving behind a giant suit of armor that tries to kill Spike. After this, Spike returns to his own time to discover that apes are starting to change things. Upon returning to the lab, he finds that it's been ransacked. Cassie, the artificial intelligence that the Professor created to manage his computer, shows Spike a video recording. In it, Natalie and the Professor are captured by the apes. Now Spike is forced to capture the apes in his own time and prevent their evil plans. He travels through the city and eventually comes to a TV tower that Spectre has made his base. Upon reaching the top, he finds that Spectre, Jake, Natalie, and the Professor are about to leave in a flying vehicle. Spike is attacked by the vehicle and forced to destroy it, after which Spectre teleports away. Soon after, Spectre sends Spike an invitation inviting him to Spectre Land.
You've captured some of my soldiers, and in return, I've decided to take your little friends. If you want them back, you have to play a simple game of hide and seek. The soldiers in the area are angry and ready for retaliation, and I won't be responsible for their actions.
Spike defeats a sinister clown to save the Professor, rides a crazy roller coaster, and goes through a haunted house to rescue Natalie, who is a little less thankful than the Professor.
Ow, hey! Couldn't you bring me down a little more gently?
Well, it's not my fault. Didn't you see that the cage fell on its own? That's the thanks I get. Hope you didn't hit your head too hard.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
And then has to fight Jake in a deadly battle against a race car. Upon defeating Jake, Spike discovers that his friend is no longer under the control of Spectre, but also has little memory of what transpired while he was under the control of Spectre. Suffering some severe injuries from fighting Spike, Jake is forced to return to the lab. Meanwhile, Spectre uses his psychic abilities to speak with Spike.
Relax. Just meet with me. You're looking for me anyway. You'll find me in my new castle in the middle of the amusement park. Come as my guest. I'll even leave the entrance open for you. I'll be waiting.
Spike teleports onto Spectre's floating fortress. Now here's where it gets a little weird. Spectre actually said that he left the front doors open and he just wants to talk with Spike. But what I found so odd was he didn't leave all the doors open. You have to go through a huge, gigantic castle full of enemies, robots, monkeys, all trying to kill you, just so you can move a painting and get to Spectre. And it takes forever. I mean, what's up with that? Oh yeah, I just want to talk with you, Spike. Now allow me to throw a billion traps in your way. But what makes it even funnier is when you finally get to Spectre, he's like,
What's wrong with you? I can't believe what a mess you made. You didn't have to blow everything apart. I told you the door would be open. I only wanted to talk to you.
yep, Spectre, Master Intelligence. Knowing that Spike contains a lot of power, as he's defeated so many of his ape minions, Spectre tries to control him the way he controlled Jake.
Ow! Is that painful? Give it up! Join me! Unless you do, the pain you're feeling will only get worse!
However, Spike's will is strong, and he manages to overcome the mind control. Infuriated, Spectre jumps in his giant robot and tries to destroy Spike. However, in the end, Spike prevails, and Spectre runs off. Spike returns home somewhat victorious. However, there's still lots of apes out there. After fully completing the game and capturing every last ape, which you have to return to the levels to get, the professor informs Spike that Spectre's location is now known, and he can teleport Spike directly to him. Spike and Spectre have an interesting conversation.
But one more thing.
What now?
How is the man that raised me?
What? You mean the trainer at the amusement park?
Yeah.
Why do you ask? Were you thinking about going back? I think that's a great idea.
I told you I'm never going back. Why should I? I have come across such incredible powers and intelligence that I'm better than they are. I can do anything.
Spectre is clearly overwhelmed by his lust for power and attacks Spike. It's truly one of the most interesting boss fights in the whole game, and it takes a lot of effort to finally capture Spectre. But it is so epic when it happens. Gotcha! 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 And so at last our adventure concludes. Our heroes run off into the distance to have some fun, and Spectre has been returned to his owner, no longer a psychopathic maniac.